Hey everyone, Chris here from Tennessee. I've got some Cornell and Diehl opening night. I've had this on my list for at least a year now. I know it is considered one of the most popular straight, completely natural Virginia flakes, and the tin description is a delicious blend of red and bright Virginias pressed into perfection. And as soon as I popped that tin, the tin note was just excellent, and it smells exactly like an Arnold Palmer iced tea, half lemonade. It's a little bit different in that regard, in that it's not super typical Virginia tin note. It's just very much only that, and it's really nice. So I've packed in about a full flake. My trusty dry filter Briar smoke mainly just straight Virginias out of this. Always provides a good smoke, so let's see what it's like. Moisture content was great. A little bit of a bounce to it, not super damp. Already getting some sweetness on the char light here. Wow. Already just charring the top here, and I'm already getting decent amount of flavor from it. That's always a good sign, in my opinion. All right, let's get it going. Always try not to burn the top of the tobacco. I try to have that flame kissing the tobacco as you move it around in a circle. Yeah, I'm getting the tin note coming out in the flavor a bit here. Wow, yeah, medium. So far, medium flavored. This is nice. There's an ever-present sweetness that's there. Thankfully, I don't have to look for any sweetness so far. This is a fresh tin. It was dated from I think just the middle of last month. Yeah, I just popped it open. Decently smoky. I'm getting immediately. I'm just getting that typical Virginia. It's quite nice. It's already. It's a little bit bready, a little bit grassy. And there's a bit of that straw, hay bale type thing going on. Thankfully, it's pretty subdued. And already, I think I'm liking this more than I think I'm already preferring this more than Orlik. It's feeling like a pretty clean smoke. Nice mild sweetness in there that's ever present, and it, I imagine it's going to build a bit. Yeah, there's a nice interplay between the bright Virginias and the red, whereas the bright is sort of. I mean, this is how I picture it. I don't think I've ever smoked, or tried just smoking a straight red Virginia or a. I think as far as brights, I think there's a few Virginia Flakes I've had, or that I might have that are mainly brights. Peterson Flake comes to mind. So playing off my assumptions here, the brights are providing that that bit of lemon. There's not really a zest to it. Everything feels quite soft and sitting at medium level. There's no high poking going on, and there's nothing super deep. But there is that mildly darker breadiness that very similar to HH Pure Virginia. Now, this is very much based off of just a few minutes smoking this for the first time, but what I feel like I can tell is if I was somebody that was lamenting the loss of McBaron HH Pure Virginia, this seems like a great replacement for it. Very smooth. Bit of spice on the retrohale, not much. Yeah, it's a very soft spice in the retrohale. Sometimes when you retrohale something that's spicy, it really hits that back of your nose with all the spice poking at you. This sort of hits more towards the front of your nose, sort of where it comes out, middle to front. So that's kind of nice with the spice hitting there on the retrohale. But it's a very mild spice, very soft. You tell this is I'm already impressed with it. This feels like a nice a very pleasant straight Virginia. And what I think is nice about this one seemingly is the fact that it has brights and reds Virginia variety, because you're getting that yeah, it's not overly citrusy. Like, it's not quite as citrusy. It's more rounded out than Orlik, especially a fresh can of Orlik. Whereas this is a very similar flavor to Orlik, but Orlik is spicier and it has a higher citrusy to it that to me is cloying out of a fresh tin. This one is the sweetness is not sitting directly center in my tongue or forward. It's back center. It's very much back center right now. Not quite hitting the back edges of my tongue. Yeah, so true to its tin note, the flavor is like a very lightly sweet Arnold Palmer lemonade iced tea. I wouldn't say it's creamy yet, but it's definitely smooth. Nice amount of citrus there, but it's not zesty at all. It's wow. Can really taste that citrus on the tongue, but it's very rounded. It's a very it's a very soft citrus. which to me is quite nice because it doesn't poke you, it doesn't get cloying. Like if it was more citrus lemony zest, it might be a little bit more cloying. But this is a round citrus, and it really, I guess it's a little bit more orangey than it is lemony, but there's both there. Flavor profile so far has been medium light. I would say medium light pretty consistently. I don't know if I'll have time to smoke through the whole thing on camera here, but I would be surprised if the flavor didn't build. So I'm not expecting much flavor change throughout the bowl, but I am expecting it to build in intensity, in flavor intensity. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's been a little while since I've smoked HH Pure Virginia, but I do recall that one requiring maybe 10-15 minutes of smoking it down a bit for the flavor to really shine. This one's more immediately satisfying, if memory served. So a light cadence here, kind of sipping on it, gives you this very nice, light, sweet tea flavor with citrus. Thankfully, I'm not really getting any kind of bergamot flavor out of this. That bergamot is quite strong, at least in an aged version of Orlik, and it's quite delicious, but I'm not crazy about bergamot. Yeah, for me this is really a perfect combination of somewhere in between HH Pure Virginia and Orlik Golden Slice, with the added benefit that this is very affordable and very available, unlike HH. But Orlik is very affordable as well and widely available. The flakes are nice looking. I'll open this up for you. Here's the thing. Yeah, I mean that's wonderful. You're smelling an Arnold Palmer right there, and a sweet tea and apricots. Sweet tea and apricots. That's what it smells like. Very nice. Now, if you watched my recent video and my high praise for McBaron Virginia Flake, that's a straight Virginia Flake that has a honey topping added to it, and it has become my favorite straight Virginia. And so I'll do, I can't help but want to do a comparison, and I think, so that is a very elegant smoke that is extremely refined, extremely delicately blended, and I think it shows expertise in how to add a top note that complements the natural taste of tobacco and smooths it out. And so this one lacks that kind of refined sublimation that a top note can offer, and that's totally fine. Like this doesn't need that sort of refinement. This is extremely pleasant. This is great. I'm really enjoying this. This is the kind of flavor profile that I prefer in straight Virginias. You get consistent sweetness. The sweetness is somewhat mild, but ever present. I don't have to go searching for it. And it's kind of a... So far, it seems like a 50-50 mix of grassy, like green grass, fresh cut grass, and hay bale straw. So if you've watched my other things, I don't prefer a strong hay-like taste. I don't like that if it's mainly straw and hay, dried grass, because that wears on me. That to me has a bit of bitterness inherent to it, to my palate. So I err on the side of like I like breadiness, I like sweet grass, I like tea-like, and this has all of that, but to a lesser degree than McBaron Virginia Flake. Now again, I'm only 15 minutes into a fresh bowl, so this could change a lot. But given the components, I don't think the flavor is gonna change much, but other than intensifying. I'll pause the video, I'll smoke this down a bit. Now the bowl is kind of nominally warm here. Virginias, if pushed too hard, they can typically get hot because of the high sugar content that starts to burn. So what I did is I was getting a little bit of ash taste as as you form that top layer and then you go to relight. Oftentimes you'll kind of relight that ash and suck it down briefly. And so I kind of dug out some of the ash, tipped it out, and then kind of scraped the edges to make a new layer of some charred tobacco. And this could be because of that, but I'm getting this sort of dry bergamot flavor coming out now, which I'm not too keen on, but that might just be me because of what I just did, but and I don't want to give the wrong impression here. This doesn't strike me as having super rough edges or anything, but there is something I feel like I've noticed over time with straight natural Virginias is there is kind of a roughness in my nose from it. And it's the roughness as if you get from maybe inhaling campfire or, slightly cigarette-ish like just in the nose. That I typically don't get from tobaccos that are sublimated with some kind of topping that melds it together and kind of rounds it out. So I am getting that kind of roughness, but that's really nitpicking. This is not a rough blend. That might be just totally me. But yeah, definitely more of that bergamot coming out, which I'm not super keen on, but it's not like Orlik. I've got a little bit of moisture in the bowl, but that just could be me salivating a bit. I don't know. But it's smoking nice and cool, pretty dry. I feel like I'm getting that bit of that ashiness, a bit of that straw-like. Again, not so keen on that, but it could just be me relighting some of the ash that's building up. The flavor is intensifying as I expected, but not in the direction I'm crazy about. It's sort of this dry-ish bergamot, slight bitter. Could be me, but is consistently citrusy. Again, not high, not sour, not lemony, not zesty, but just a rounded citrusy, which is nice. And I'm feeling that kind of maybe the blend is a little rough. Maybe I am getting that sort of roughness towards the back of my tongue, maybe the top of my throat a little bit. Not super bothersome by any means, but I feel like this is something that aging will take off the blend. Overall, I'm really enjoying this though. This is definitely a all natural, untopped. I think it's even, I don't even know if it has any kind of casing on it either. You know, with a lot of natural, fully natural blends, there'll be a type of casing mixed with the tobacco that is part of the, as far as I remember when I read about this, you know, the difference between a casing and a topping. A topping is really added last. It's really, you know, towards the end of the process, where a casing is more just to sort of preserve the tobacco through the process, you know, closer to the beginning of the process. And a natural casing would just be light sugar water. And maybe it has that, I don't know. But for me, something I've noticed with these all natural blends is there is a bit of that sort of slightly rough edge. Towards the back of my palate. Still consistently sweet. I'm definitely at halfway now, maybe a little bit below halfway, but I've got some, well, you really can't see that. That's okay. So I'm okay. Now there's a slight zest coming out in the tip of my tongue from this. I think this is a Virginia that I'm enjoying sipping on more with a lighter cadence. I'll admit though, I did like this more. I was enjoying this more for the first half of the bowl, which is very surprising. It's usually the opposite. But this is one of my favorite pipes to smoke straight Virginias out of, and I usually don't have trouble with tasting notes in here and ash or burning weird. So I'm going to venture to say that this is the tobacco itself that has taken on a dry, hay-like flavor profile, while thankfully remaining sweet. But this is striking me as a blend that I want to have at least a few weeks of age on after popping the tin. And ideally, it seems like I'd want to put a few months of age on this at least. And after a year, I feel like this would be more enjoyable straight through. But this is quite nice. Yeah, I would take this in place of HH Pure Virginia, just because you can't get your hands on it anymore. And again, I love that Cornell and Diehl, GLPs, all those put a date on the bottom of the tin. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to know when my tobacco was canned up. So yeah, this is almost as flavorful as Orlik Golden Sliced, and I immediately already like it more in some ways. I really like the fact that it's less spicy, and as most of us know, Orlik likely has a bit of Perique mixed in, just a small amount. But I like that this isn't super stinky, but it is a tiny bit rough. There is that sort of inherent smelliness from it being just a all natural straight Virginia, but it's not filling the area with a strong cigarette smell like Orlik does. Consistently, Orlik has fresh tin or aged Orlik is extremely cigarette smelly. I really like that so far. The flavor is not cloying my tongue. It's not staying in my tongue. It kind of quickly fades, and I think that's due to this being all natural. So there's no top note. There's no top flavoring that's gonna stick to you at all. Overall, I have my tongue is pretty dry. It has kind of a dry flavor on it, which is quite nice. I don't want it to linger. Nicotine content, I feel it slightly in the middle of my chest there. I haven't eaten anything this morning, so there's that. But mild so far. And I folded and stuffed this in. Took about 2/3 of a flake, folded it, stuffed it down. Took the last third of the flake, stuffed it in fairly tight on top. Yeah, I'm getting a rather, to me, an unpleasant sort of hay, straw, slight bitter edge to this on my tongue. And I don't know if that's just the way it's burning, if I'm getting ash in there. It doesn't taste overtly ashy, but it's the other side of Virginia's that I don't like, or I don't prefer. Which to me is Peterson flake straight out of a tin. Couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand it. Great for sipping. That tea essence is not as strong as Samuel Gawith Full Virginia Flake, and it's not as strong as McBaron Virginia Flake. It's there, but it's very rounded out. The tea flavor is very rounded out. It's consistently citrusy and sweet, which I love. But this one has a very dry flavor on the tongue. So that makes this different than those other blends, in my opinion. But yeah, I would say it's quite savory overall. I'm not picking up a whole lot of anything else. But for time's sake, I have to cut the video a little bit short here. I'm on just a quick break from work. And yes, I am enjoying Cornell and Diehl opening night. This is a great all-natural straight Virginia. I'm so thankful that Cornell and Diehl and other blenders are still making, straight all-natural tobaccos. It's really cool. It's really cool. And to me, I think I'll prefer this one with a bit of age on it, maybe airing it out. Maybe even in a few days, since I've popped the tin, it'll take any kind of rough or bitter edge off. Not that I don't want to give you the impression this is bitter. It's not bitter overall, but I am getting some of those straw-like notes in there. Wonderful. Just a great mild sweetness throughout that I don't have to search for. And you get orange and lemon and tea that are all together in one round clump in there as far as the flavor. So it's good. Alright, I have to cut this short. I'll see if I have time to finish this bowl, but otherwise, hope you've enjoyed this first impressions of Cornell and Diehl opening night. This is terrific. This is a terrific blend. It definitely has not unseated McBaron Virginia Flake for me, but this is great. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I got this one. All right, take care. God bless. Thanks for watching. See you next time.